welcome to another episode of the Fashion Grunge Podcast. I am your host, Lauren. And guess what? Guess who's here today?
It's me.
Yay, Mike is back. Woo.
I'm back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited because this one is actually going to be somewhat in real time because I'm posting it tomorrow. I don't have any in the bank, so this is going to be like a current one. Like people will hear this tomorrow as if this is not like 2 weeks before.
So your anticipation doesn't have to be that long.
I know, right? You can hear like what we're actually doing like at this moment. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So what are you up to? We actually were just talking off air about just random stuff that we were like doing and watching. You said that you watched Jurassic Park. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
The early one?
Justin and I started. We watched Jurassic Park, the second one, The Lost World. And then we've been watching a bunch of other stuff, like The Politician on Netflix is really good.
Oh yeah.
They just ended their second season. It's like a dramedy, all about the politics and stuff like that. If you're into that.
Ryan Murphy too.
Ryan Murphy, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is it very much like Glee? Were you a Glee person? Like, did you watch Glee?
I did watch Glee. I'm not as much of a, what do they call them, Gleek? as
They have names?
Yeah, the groupies are called Gleeks.
Oh shit! Okay,
So I'm not that much of a Gleek. Justin is. He loves.
Is he?
Yeah, he loves Leia Michelle as who does she play? Rachel Berry. I'm not,
no! What does he think about all this rumor shit about her? I always read something.
I've watched a couple of videos. He's not really like.
He doesn't believe it.
He's not in the up and up, and yeah, he doesn't really pay attention. He's like,
oh, he doesn't know. He just watches Glee and really likes her.
Yeah, I mean, like, I
cool
about like certain stuff. And then poor Naya Rivera.
I know.
Oh my gosh, 2 weeks ago?
So sad, yeah, that she just drowned in that lake.
Yeah, and she.
Did you also hear? There's another lake in Georgia. It's like Lake Lanier, and like people always drown in it, like all the time. Yeah, it's like and every time something, like there are always accidents and things, and every time it happens, it like trends on Twitter, so I always see it, and people are like, how come no one has made a movie about this literal haunted lake in Georgia? Like, it's literally, there are people that die all the time, like never go in that lake. There's another lake too, I think, in like somewhere else. I was looking at haunted lakes for some reason, and they're actually yeah, a weird enough rabbit hole. This sounds like something that you would probably be into, but like, yeah, it was literally just all these haunted lakes around the country, and that weird things happen. That Georgia, I think it's Lake Lanier, it's called. The other one, the more northern one, I can't remember, but that's another one where people, like, everyone is like, why does anyone go in this lake? Everyone always disappears all the time. Like, it's crazy that people actually go.
And people wonder why I don't go fishing. Nope.
And we also decided not to go camping after our last review of
no no more.
Like, I am not.
Nature scares the shit out of me. I'm not.
It's getting crazy now because I think now, because there are no, like, restaurants don't have as much food waste, so like animals are just in a different situation, I think, now, like the ones that are living around us.
And
yeah, like, you just never know. It's gonna be like the birds.
It's gonna be Planet of the Apes.
Oh my god, it's just gonna be nuts. Who knows what's gonna happen in the next like year?
The Island of Dr. Moreau.
Oh my god, that's a weird one. When did that come out? Was it like Val Kilmer in that?
Yeah, Val Kilmer was in that, and oh my god, what's her name? Nutty.
I'm looking it up now. 96. Ooh. Let's see.
Oh, we should do that one.
Oh yeah, Marlon Brando. Oh yeah, Veruza Balk. Oh yeah, we should do this one.
We should totally do that one.
Okay, we've decided this is the next one we're gonna do together. We do all these weirdo. If you haven't heard yet, we're doing The Silence of the Lambs. I don't even know
we haven't even talked. Yeah.
That's what we're talking about today. Yeah, like and subscribe and do all that fun jazz. I guess you've gotten this far. But yeah, I don't even know if you've gotten this far, but you've seen the title, so it's Silence of the Lambs. I don't know. This is Mike's suggestion, actually.
I wanted something more like, and I love doing any kind of movie. Like, it could be the trashiest movie ever. But
are you saying that I watch trash?
No, I'm not saying that. What?
You are. You're saying I watch trash. It's okay. I'm
No.
fine. Don't
Hey,
even get me started on Real Housewives. I can't even get
no,
any immediate friend to
go
talk
to your
about Real
room.
Housewives with me. I literally cannot. Like, I'm literally on my own watching Bravo reality shows, and it's crazy because so many people watch them, but none of my friends watch them.
I love you, but I can't do
I
reality
know, it's
anymore.
cool. It's cool. I have my own online friend world podcast that I listen to talking about it.
But no, I don't even know what really provoked me to do Silence of the Lambs. I think I just wanted something more like psychological to watch, if that makes sense, I guess.
It's good.
But I mean, Silence of the Lambs, it's fantastic. It came out in 1991.
Yep.
Was made in 1989.
Crazy. You could tell.
And you can totally tell it's very I mean, granted, it's a DVD or Netflix has it, but it's very grainy. It's not updated. I wish they would update it with like brighter colors, and
No, Mike, no, that ruins the purity.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, it's because I feel like you can really tell the colors in the 80s, like the color grading in films was like relatively the same, but
It was
now you can
very
really tell the shift.
it was very mute, I guess, or like
Yeah, it was very desaturated.
yeah. Um, I couldn't even pick out one thing that was like brightly colored in that, except for maybe like the blood on Anthony Hopkins' face.
Yeah, well, that was like very crazy too because everything around him was this very like earthy tone. Like he was wearing double white. The floors were like this light wood. Everything around him was very like natural. Yeah, that red really stood out. There was also a red exit bulb, I think, when she goes down to see him the first time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like there's a red, like kind of like she sees like the exit or like all the kind of like the the like fences and like what do you call them? I don't even know, like the jail door, like that metal prison bars that she
it was all black and
yeah
rusted.
and like brick, like cement, not like cement but like bricks, like they were underground but they were brick walls.
Oh yeah, like they don't. Okay, so like the difference. I mean, there's a lot of difference between today and 1990s.
Oh yeah.
There, and not that I've visited a jail cell recently, but like from what I see on TV now, it looks very Crypt Keeper ish.
This one does, yeah. It's dark
in this movie, especially because it's all brick, it's all dark, and then in the new facilities, they're very like bright white and more comfortable rooms.
Well, this one is specifically a behavior hospital for the criminally insane, and it's actually in like a really small, old, like 18th, maybe like 19th century brick building.
Oh, it looks
so it looks like it's in like a cellar from like it was like a massive. I don't know. It looked like it was a house, but they show an outside shot. It is a special hospital. It's not like a wing in a giant facility. It's literally. It seems like he's a special case. So he has like a special cell, you know what I mean? Like he's not in general pop. You can't be around people really.
No, and I loved his story of. I mean, you don't really get a humongous backstory in this one. You get it with like the prequels.
Yeah, I was gonna say with the other ones.
But just the story of being a psychologist turned murderer is just it's scary and fantastic. You know,
it's crazy. Well, wait, let's get into. It's directed by Jonathan Demme, which I have to say too, he's an incredible director here. What are your first thoughts on the film? When did you first see it?
So when I was writing it, I couldn't honestly say I couldn't remember when I first saw it. But I know I've seen it throughout the years on TV, on Netflix, DVD because I had the DVD. But I do remember seeing like the prequels in the movie, the sequel and the prequel in the movie theater.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we went to go see Hannibal because that was the one after, and then we went to go see The Red Dragon, which is a prequel to Silence of the Lambs.
And that came out after Hannibal.
Yeah, that came out in like the two.
At last. Yeah, that's where they went forward, then they went all the way back.
Yeah, and then when Netflix just came out, remember how like they would they had the option of like you could rent a DVD and they would send it to you through the mail. I don't know if they do that anymore.
Yeah, they do.
Do they?
Yeah,
Really?
they still have.
No shit.
Yeah, you can get the disc plan if you really like go to the website and like pick it. Like,
Oh, that's
it's
awesome.
an option. Yeah.
But I remember when Netflix first came out, I was going through all their DVDs, and there was this movie called Manhunter that was,
Oh, dude, yeah. Susanna was just telling me about this on the phone earlier today.
and it was made in like the 80s or something, and so it's like very grainy and very boring, but
She said it was good.
it's a prequel to Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Um, and it mentions Hannibal Lecter. I don't think you're introduced to him until Silence of the Lambs.
No, I think Brian Cox plays Hannibal Lecter
Oh, does
in
he?
the
Okay, I didn't
Manhunter,
really.
I think.
I was falling into
I'm not
all these, like,
sure.
rabbit holes of Google and YouTube. So like,
Yeah. So wait, you haven't seen that though, or
no,
you have?
I've seen Manhunter. Yeah,
Oh, you have. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I haven't seen it in so long. Um, but I think Manhunter or Red Dragon is kind of like an updated version of Manhunter.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So that's where I was kind of getting confused earlier of like, I think this is like that because, and I've never read the books, but I was going chronological through the books where they go, okay, well, um, it was Red Dragon, then Silence of the Lambs, then Hannibal. So I'm going, okay, well, where does this Manhunter fit in?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh.
it's really cool. I mean, that's pretty much my first impression, but like rewatching it now, it's so interesting to me.
Yeah, it is. It's so that we have
Because,
so much more in this genre now.
yeah,
In this like behavior, like, kind of crime type stuff.
and I know you love watching like documentaries on crime and
Mhm.
serial
Yeah.
killers, and um, I'm 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 in and out of those.
Yeah.
I get
I'm in
really
and
like
out.
freaked out.
Sometimes I have to stop because it gets a bit too much, like
Oh
to
yeah,
watch
totally.
real life stuff like that because it's like it's really upsetting. And it also really kind of bothers me the way that they market it now
Mhm.
because the fact that it's so like that it's so interesting. It is so interesting, but then when you think about it, these are, real people and these are real victims. And like, I can't even imagine what it must be like to have a kind of case publicized where like someone in your family was killed by this person that's like the worst person ever, and like it's been done in movies and there's documentaries, and it's like it's almost like it just doesn't go away,
No, can
which
you
is
imagine like
even
being?
imagine.
Can you imagine being a family member of somebody that just went completely off the rails?
Yeah, I mean,
And
like, and you had no idea, or like you never
no.
knew that person. That person was just someone that you never knew. Like they had so many different sides of them that you never saw that person. That's what people said about Ted Bundy.
Mhm.
Is there were people who were in his college class and everything, and they were like, we had no fucking idea. Like it you just don't know. Like
No,
you
it's
just
so
never.
crazy. So, like, I remember, and I haven't read up on updated graduating class members, but in my high school, I remember there was this one guy that was just like completely beyond the whole like gothic stage and depressive kid stage.
Yeah.
He, like, remember when Angelina Jolie had like that blood necklace
Yeah, with Billy Bob.
with Billy Bob? Yeah. So he had the same thing, and he was like threatening me almost every day.
What
Where
do you
to the
mean?
point where it was so uncomfortable. Yeah, I remember going to the principal, and he
What
was
would he threaten you with?
just like, I mean, it was more like vocal than anything.
What? Oh my
Like,
god.
I'm gonna kill you. You're gonna die. Blah 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 blah.
What?
I remember the principal, like, the next day after I complained, like, sent him to like some facility after talking to his family, and they're like, "Oh yeah,
No.
we've been wanting to do this for a really long time."
No way. Like he was actually troubled?
Oh yeah, that was
So
at the
what
law school. Yeah,
so what happened? Do you just not know?
I don't know. I haven't
Damn.
I haven't. I know his name was Nathan something, but yeah. But no, it's so
Wow.
crazy because so like my mom, she's a child and family therapist. And a long
Yeah.
time ago, I was so nervous about her getting into it and like having a private practice in the house
That's right.
where I'm like, I'm checking on her. I would check on her all the time, being like, okay, so what's your client situation like? And
Well, yeah, because you don't know, you just don't know.
I mean,
Like,
obviously
you could have
she had
who's
divulged stuff,
unstable and,
but yeah.
especially when it's in your house. It's one thing when it's in an office building, at least, it's an office building. If something was to happen, there are people around that are equipped to handle the situation,
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in a home, like you're just you in the home with this person in your house,
It's so crazy. It's just
It's like that Murder House season where he was seeing all the people in his house.
oh yeah, American Horror Story. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
right. Yeah.
that's one of my favorite seasons, by the way.
I'm rewatching it right now. It's so great.
But getting back to my first impression, but watching it now, I totally forgot that Buffalo Bill was a former patient of Hannibal's.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, I saw a lot of things and noted a lot more things that I had seen than before because I haven't seen it in a really long time all the way through.
It's really I mean, it's only like what near 2 hour movie.
Yeah, it's not very long.
It goes.
Yeah, it does go fast. Yeah. Do you have any more first and thought? I'll give you some of mine.
No, yeah. What did you think? What were your?
I saw this film really late. I was in my 20s when I saw it. When everyone else saw it, I had never seen it. And I remember when it was promoted a lot, even though I was really young.
Mhm.
But I remember seeing like that poster with the moth
Yeah.
on the face, on the buses, like stuff like that. I just remember seeing it in magazines and everything. And I was like always kind of told that it was this really like disturbing movie. But I knew the guy was like a cannibal. And like, I was like, oh no. And even when I got older, I was like, oh God, no, I don't want to see that. And then I just didn't see it for a really long time until I was like definitely like mid 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was either on TV or I don't think I rented it. I don't think I actively, but then it was on TV or whatever. So I saw it and I was like, oh wow, this is really great. But at that time I wasn't that interested in, or maybe we didn't have that much information on serial killers and like documentaries like we do now. Like it was a different time where we didn't have Netflix. So, it would have to have been on TV or I would have had to rent a documentary and I wasn't like that kind of documentary person. I only watch things now because it's so easy to watch them. But yeah, for that reason, I didn't really watch it until I was a lot older, and then now I've only seen it maybe like 3 times. I want to say like I really haven't seen it like a whole lot of times, but it's so weird also that it was released on Valentine's Day in 1991.
Mm-hmm.
I find that really weird. And then like upon watching it again and just seeing all these films like now and I'm reviewing all these different films and watching films all the time and really looking at other like more in depth on them, it's just so incredible how good Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins are together.
Mm-hmm. Their chemistry is
It's just insane.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was supposed to go to all these other, I mean we'll go into other people that they had choice, but these were not the first 2 choices for this role. And it's insane just to think that this film would be anywhere without Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins. I mean, it wouldn't have done nearly as well.
No.
I don't think they're so good. And then also another note is that this is one of those few rare films, I think there are only 3 that got the Oscar for Best Picture, Best Director, both lead actor and actress, and Best Screenplay.
Screenplay and director. Yeah.
Yeah, and director. Yeah, the big 5. Like it won all those 5, which is so rare. There are 2 other films or 3 other films. We could call up Charles and like patch him in because he would fucking know.
The others.
Yeah, I don't know, but he knows all those.
Wasn't one like Titanic or something?
Is it? I think one might be like Gone with the Wind or like one of the. It's like one is really old.
Oh.
One is like an old movie from like the 30s, and I'm sure another one is probably like. Did The Godfather win a whole bunch? Like, did they win like Best Picture and Director and all that?
Yeah,
they probably did. Right? We'll look that up. Yeah, we're not ABC, NBC or whatever.
Series. That'd be fun.
What?
We should do the Godfather series. That would be fun.
No, that's gonna have to be a bonus. If enough people want to pay to hear our thoughts on The Godfather, then we'll do a Patreon, and then we can do that. But that's such an undertaking. I do want to do I want to do Goodfellas because that's like a mobster movie.
I've never seen that.
You haven't?
Mm-mm.
Oh shit! It's a good Scorsese movie. We should do it because it's really long, but it's like Scorsese. They're all really long, but it's so good with Ray Liotta.
Isn't it? Like,
and a lot of people in it, like Lorraine Bracco, like Joe Pesci, like De Niro. Like it's like a classic mob story.
Because I remember like my dad had it on Laserdisc.
Oh, that's right. You have a
Do you
Laserdisc.
remember Laserdisc?
You had the Craft on Laserdisc.
Yes.
Yeah, we used to watch the Craft on Laserdisc. It was so
He
cool.
was the only person I knew that actually had the technology. It was a fad that didn't last very long.
No, but it was before DVD. It was like it tried to be DVDs, but it was just like DVDs just came in and like we're way smaller. The Laserdisc was so massive and heavy.
Well, they were like the size of a record.
Yeah, it was like a big CD.
Yeah,
it's really funny, and I think they scratch pretty easily.
They
so
scratched totally easy. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
so
then
I
you
think
had
it like
to like finish the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I know. I remember the Craft used to freeze. We were like, "Fuck, this sucks." I'm gonna move on. We're gonna move on to behind the scenes. I have just two quick notes, and then you can dive into yours because you have a lot. You did a lot more. The notes that I have is that Hannibal Lecter is based on a serial killer in Mexico called Alfredo Bali Trevino, and he was actually a doctor who ended up. Like a medical doctor, I believe, not a psychiatrist, who ended up killing his patients. That's who he was loosely based on.
Oh, wow. I actually never knew that.
Yeah, and also Buffalo Bill is really they say he's based on 3 killers, but he's really based around 6. And the 6 that he is based on, which is really interesting. I don't know, have you ever seen the show Mindhunter?
I've heard of it.
Okay, you need to watch it because first of all, it's directed by David Fincher, who did 7, who I'm also reviewing 7 on in a few days. So that will be coming out. He did 7 and Fight Club and like Zodiac. Like he does a lot of this like serial killer shit. He did it. It's fucking incredible. And it has the guy from that show Looking and also the show, I think he's in Hamilton too. His name is Jonathan Groff. He's one of the main characters, and then someone else. It's about the inception of the FBI behavior science unit, and what they do is like they are going to interview serial killers and find out like they're almost exactly what Jodie Foster is doing, but in the story, the FBI already has a behavior unit, like in Silence of the Lambs, but in Mindhunter, it's about the 2 agents who actually defined this unit and made it become a thing. So when she fills out that questionnaire, when he gives her that questionnaire, and he's like, "This is what I want. I want Lecter to know about." That's actually based on what these 2 agents really did, and it is a book called Mindhunter. And they interview Charles Manson in it. Anyway, so the people that in the story, the people that the killer's based on, Buffalo Bill, is Ted Bundy, which I immediately knew when he couldn't. When I was, because I've seen all this stuff on Ted Bundy now that I hadn't seen when I first watched it. Mm-hmm. So when Buffalo Bill is like loading that thing into his van and he had a cast on, that's exactly what Bundy did. That's how he lured women into their cars and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which was, I was like, oh my god, that's what Bundy did. Ed Gein is a serial killer in the 30s and 40s who used to skin women. So that one. And let's see, Ed Kemper, I believe he's in Mindhunter, and he, I believe, killed his parents or grandparents, and he's like, actually he killed a lot of people, but he killed his mom too. Mm-hmm. And he was extremely intelligent. His IQ was like 145, but he was based on it too because I believe Buffalo Bill killed his grandparents. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's a part of it. Jerry Brudos used to strangle women and keep their clothes and shoes. That's another one who was
obsessed with like the size.
Clothes. Well, he wanted to make a suit and like needed enough skin to do that. But the clothes that he would keep in like the shoes, that's what Jerry Brudos did. And Gary Ridgway is a guy who had a pit and used to keep his victims in like the pit that he had in his house. And then
oh, God.
Yeah, and then also either it's him and it's Gary Hayden. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And then but instead of an empty pit, I think it was like he filled it with water.
Yeah.
And like hid other bodies down there, except in
terrible.
Yeah,
I mean, and I heard that he's done a lot more other shit, but I don't even want to get into that. But that's essentially what I have for the behind the scenes notes. I know you have a lot more, but that's frightening.
No,
what else did you find out?
It's so creepy. I didn't know about the other 3. To be honest, I thought it was just 3 people. But The only other stuff, because I had a lot of what you had, but I had that Dem's first choice in the role was Michelle Pfeiffer.
So crazy.
Instead of Jodie. It was first Michelle Pfeiffer. Michelle Pfeiffer did not want to do it based on the subject of the context.
Yeah, it's really dark.
I guess it was just too dark for her at the time. And then so they went to Meg Ryan, who turned it down.
I can't believe they went to Meg Ryan.
She's not
Like,
one of my
why?
favorites, and I can't imagine her being in this movie.
No.
And then even Halle Berry was in it.
I know, that's kind of weird.
That just came out of left field. I was like, what?
Totally, yeah. I was like, really?
But as soon as they asked Jodie, she was just like, yep, totally. And then Dem's male choice instead of before Anthony Hopkins was Sean Connery.
I read that. I was like, Mish Money Penny. I can't imagine. He's too like smooth, right? He's too like James Bond.
He is the original James Bond, isn't he? No, that was.
Oh, this is gonna expose me. I've never seen a James Bond movie. Don't care. Oh, okay.
Timothy Dalton was the first one. That's right.
Is it Roger Moore? Was he the
Roger Moore?
one?
Roger Moore, and then
he the first one?
I can't remember. There's been so many, and now supposedly they're going to do one with a female.
Yeah, I heard that.
But everyone who's gotten wind of that is like so pissed, and I'm just like, why? It's the new century. I mean,
that other guy's old.
Yeah.
What's his name? Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig. Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of old. I'm looking up now. Who's the first one?
But
Dalton, wasn't he?
He was a 007. Yeah.
Yeah, but was he? Let me see. Who played him? Oh yeah, Sean Connery is the first one.
Yeah. Oh, he was.
And
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, then Roger Moore was in like the 70s and 80s, and Timothy Dalton was in like 2. Then Brosnan in the 90s was like Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan, yeah.
And then like mid 2000s is when Daniel Craig took over.
I was so pissed at that because I liked Pierce Brosnan's version.
Well, he's older though. I mean, he couldn't do it forever.
That's true. But a couple of other notes that I had was that George Romero, who's directed like Living Dead, Night of the Living Dead, Dead, he was actually in this movie as well. He was one of the security guards that held.
Cool.
Back, yeah.
Nice.
I had another note that said Gene Hackman was going to originally direct the movie.
Direct the movie?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think direct. It was direct it. Yeah. But based on the subject, it was like another Michelle Pfeiffer thing. He was just like, no.
So crazy that in 91, they were like, no.
Yeah. It's weird. I guess back in early 90s, like because the subject was so real. I don't know. It was me like 8 different people for like 8 different parts of the project were like originally no. So,
I think it's because back then when they would make a film like this, like there wasn't that like quote unquote like audience for true crime. So it was like some people would probably find it just really disturbing and not interesting at all. And now there's so many people that are into this kind of shit. So like there wouldn't even I feel like people would make this stuff now because celebrities watch true crime. Like people watch Law and Order. You know, like now like it's been on TV a lot. We have all those cop shows on TV. Like I don't think they would hesitate now to do a show like True Detective. Like they have big shows that are, you know, cable and done by, you know, Hollywood actors like McConaughey and Harrelson. But like back then it just seemed like it was so dark for so many actors to do it.
Oh yeah. Oh, speaking of McConaughey,
You don't like him.
He's okay.
Oh, you're coming around.
He's okay. I mean,
Leo. Who is it that you don't like that I like? Is it Leo? You don't really like Leo.
Leo DiCaprio?
Yeah.
He's all right. I mean, he's not not amazing.
Like actor wise, not like if he's hot or you'd bang him or anything like that.
Who did I mention to you the other day? Because like you don't like Julia Roberts, so
no.
I always reference like certain people that are like my quote unquote Julia Roberts, and I can't
Oh yeah, but you did say someone who was like your favorite.
Oh, Julianne Moore. I hate her.
Oh yeah, that's right. You don't like her? Oh, I like her.
No. She ruined Lost World. Or
Okay, well that movie was just
yeah,
garbage. I can't
Lost
even
World.
believe you
And
sat
then
through it.
she was in Hunger Games, like the last ones. Like no.
Oh, I only saw the first Hunger Games. I
Yeah.
don't like that Jennifer Lawrence though either.
Oh, is she another Julia Roberts for you?
She is, yeah, she is actually. I kind of refuse to watch films with her in it. Sorry about it.
Not bad. She's like the newer Mystique, which I like.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Okay, I have seen that. I've seen some things with her like wittingly, but nothing where she's starring in anything.
But Matthew McConaughey, he was in Dallas Buyers Club, right?
Yes, he
So
was.
I just recently saw that, and that's fantastic. I'm glad I finally saw it.
Oh yeah, it's a great film. It's really great. They both deserve that Oscar for sure.
Oh yeah.
Him and Jared Leto.
Oh, it's fantastic. I need Jared Leto to like play like a full blown queen in something.
I need him to just play like Angel from Buffy because he looks the same. Like
Well, I mean, he's gonna be in that
he's
more.
the only one who I don't think he can. He's the only one who can play a vampire at this point, who's like almost 50.
True. He's
It's
gonna
like
be in
kind
the
of.
movie though. That Marvel is producing, or Sony rather.
Oh, is it more? It's Morbius, right?
Morbius. Yeah. I mean, he's
I
a.
kind of want to see it just because I like him.
Huh?
But is he? It's its own thing, right? It's not in like the MCU.
It's his own thing. It's his own movie.
When is it coming out now? Did it get pushed back?
Yeah. Most everything got pushed back by a year.
But it's done.
Yeah. Morbius specifically. I don't
Yeah,
know.
like has he finished doing it? I think they have, right?
I don't know if they're actually done. They should be.
Oh, he actually is playing a living vampire. Oh my god, I was literally just kidding that he should play a vampire because he looks the same. He actually is playing a vampire in Morbius.
I mean, they have a trailer and everything.
I'll have to watch it again. I think I originally laughed it off, so I was like, "Fuck this."
Because originally they're supposed to be. It was supposed to be out this October, so I mean, I'm pretty sure they're done.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Okay, more behind the scenes. We're getting so off.
yeah. Sorry. That's pretty much it. Although
Okay, cool.
I did say that filming took place in Pittsburgh.
Oh, nice. It looks East Coast.
But in the movie, they're supposed to be in like different places, like Baltimore, West Virginia, and I think what is it, Texas? No, Missouri,
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Yeah,
Yeah, and they're in like Memphis or something. Isn't he like outside Memphis?
yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
The Memphis.
Cool. It looks very East Coast. Like if you're from the East Coast, then like that's what it looks like out there.
But that's
it's like green and kind of low. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, that's awesome. All right. Well, I have a few plot points and story questions.
Yeah.
Not too many. And in the beginning, I love how it starts at that obstacle course. Like I love that the credits of her just like running. I'm like, God, I could never do this. Like even at my youngest, I couldn't do it. I'm like, I'm so not that good. And then also like just that weird as the film starts, that weird what's his name? Dr. Chilton, who's the guy who like runs the behavior.
He's like every scene he had with her, he was like trying to hit on her and like.
Yeah, that's what I wrote. I was like, creepy Dr. Chilton hitting on her.
Yeah.
Gross. So gross. And then that first moment that you like see the hallway, because I love how also it's like 10 minutes in and you're meeting Lecter. Like it moves very fast.
Yeah.
I really like that. And then like it's so crazy when you first see outside the cage and then you see like the chair and they're like, we set up a chair for you. And then she's like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then and I was like, oh my God, that's the way they shot that. Or like leading up through that hallway. And then you see those other people, like other prisoners, like on the left.
I would lose my shit.
I would lose my shit. I
don't even that one prisoner, Miggs, I think.
Yeah, Miggs.
He was like, oh yeah, I can smell your cunt.
Yeah. And then I think Lecter heard it because he asked Clarissa like to repeat what he said. He was like, what did he say there? And then when you first see him, how he's like standing up all weird.
Oh yeah.
Like,
he's trying to smell or in the circles of the window.
Yeah. It's so creepy. Like I wrote like film starts quickly, Lecter appears early, his eyes, ew. Like
Oh,
he
his
has
eyes
the
are so magnetic and so fast.
yeah, his eyes are so scary.
Yeah.
Like they're just so weird. And I love how she like starts out really cool. She's just like, "Hi, Lecter," like, "Hi, Dr. Lecter," da da da. Like, and he's like, "They sent a student? Like, what the fuck? Like, what is this? Like, you send like this little like nothing person to like help me out, like to like suss me out and like answer some dumb questions that like nobody's managed to do." And I was like, "Oh, he mad."
Right.
I was like, "This is not going to be good." I thought that something crazy was going to happen at that point. Like when I first watched it, I was like, "Oh my god, he's going to like try to." Fucking killer. But then he just like one of my favorite scenes actually. It's not I guess it will already like tell you what my favorite scene is, but when he like kind of like shades her and like kind of reads her on her entire like life story. He's like, "Yeah, you're like you have these cheap shoes. You didn't grow up anywhere. You grew up in like this town, like this small town, and your accent, and I can see right through you." I was like, "Oh,
Oh, he automatically tries to break her down. You can see her
uh-huh."
face getting red, but
Mhm.
she's like holding back as much as she can.
Yeah.
Um,
And then she's like and then he gives her that paper or like he gives her that like anagram. And then he's like, "Yeah, like look up my old patient or something." And then it ends up being like this anagram to like the self-storage unit where the guy's head is.
mhm.
That's his and it hasn't been in there since like the 80s and like
Oh, it was
the
so
guy
gross.
it was so fucking weird. I was like, "Damn." So then she's like kind of he obviously is like, "Oh shit, okay, you figured this out. You're obviously like smarter than I thought you were." And then the second time she goes to meet him and she's like trying to get him to help with this case now. Then she offers him that fucking bullshit deal
Mhm.
where she's like, "Oh yeah, we'll put you in this, like really nice place with a view." And then, I was like, "Oh shit." And then we get to the part where we actually see Buffalo Bill and and then he pulls that whole like the girl, you meet the girl, like listen to her Tom Petty, like flying down the road, and then he pulls that fucking Ted Bundy shit and has like a cast on his hand and is like trying to awkwardly move furniture at night in a van.
And then he
And
pinches her.
well, Annie's like, "Hey, can you help? Can you like I was like, "Girl, what the fuck
Yeah.
are you doing?"
Mhm.
Like, oh, and I was like, "What are and wait, is that dog his or hers?"
The white one?
Yeah.
The white annoying dog? I believe that's his.
Yeah, okay. So I thought she had a dog with her, but I guess she didn't.
Mm-mm.
I thought it was hers for some reason. But then she was like, "No, I'm gonna kill your dog later." I was like, "Wait, okay, it isn't her."
Yeah.
For some reason I thought it was hers. Yeah, and then he like makes her like get in there. He's like, "Yeah, can you just lift it and like get it all the way in there?" And then like and he like pushes it back on her, and I was like, "Oh my god, I would fucking lose my shit." And then he just starts like hitting her. I was like, "Oh god, this is what happened. This is what fucking Bundy did."
So that is his house though, right?
No, I believe it's the people that lived there before. Didn't he kill that girl?
Oh, right.
And
Like,
he's like, "I bought the house 2 years ago."
he has a
Like,
well inside their house. Or he
I
made
guess you dig it, right? I
that.
don't
I don't
know.
yeah, I couldn't
Yeah,
I
there are a
couldn't
lot of
recall.
questions. Yeah, that like I didn't really know about that. And I said, "OMG, the Ted Bundy MO using the broken arm to look helpless." And then he did it at the lake in the 70s. That's what Ted.
Mhm.
I was like, "Ooh, creep." And then I said, "Of course he collects moths." Like, who else would collect moths but a fucking psycho?
Oh, that's what I forgot to say in the behind the scenes thing, that I found out is that they actually had a moth, trainer
Oh, no
because
way.
half of those moths were real and half of them were animatronic.
Whoa,
Yeah.
animatronic, cool.
And then the one moth sorry, I know that you're in the plot right now, but
Oh no, it's okay.
the one, moth thing that they pull from that dead body
Yeah.
is, actually made of chocolate.
Oh, whoa. Oh, so in case you like swallow
Yeah.
it. Oh,
Sorry,
'cause
anyway, go ahead.
wow.
Totally forgot about that, yeah.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Could you imagine if your whole job is to make animatronic moths for movies? That's so
Mhm.
cool. How do you get that job? And I have here like in just like a camera note, there are lots of close-ups of Clarissa's reactions. Like there are a lot of times where her face just fills the whole screen.
Oh, yeah.
Even just in simple situations, like they really, like you really see like every emotion that she is, like her panic, or if
Mhm.
she's always very like, she has a very interesting demeanor throughout it. Like, she's very reserved, but like very smart and quiet at the same time,
Mhm.
but just also kind of intimidating.
And she's still like that, even when she got older. Like with even though it was a boring movie, like Contact, there was a lot of like close-ups of
What do you mean?
her
Yeah, Jodie Foster in general.
Jodie
Yeah,
Foster in that Panic Room. Like as she got older in her acting years, it was just like they want to focus on her.
yeah. Well, she's such a great actress
Yeah,
and director, I think, too
she's
now.
a director. Yeah.
Yeah, and she lives in like France. She's getting her life.
Oh yeah, and she's very like methodic. I don't know. I want to Google her now and like go down this rabbit hole. But
Yeah, I know. She's
she's
really. I think
very
she's
she's
too.
very like wise about what she picks to be in.
Yeah,
You
she
know.
is. Well, she's always in good shit.
Hmm.
Kind of like Leo in that way. I was talking to my mom about like the different actors, and like she really likes Johnny Depp a lot. And I was like, we're talking about Johnny Depp and Brad Pitt. Granted, they're two completely different people,
Hmm.
but I was like, and they're different actors. And I was like, but the thing about Brad Pitt is that I don't think he's ever done like a bad movie. Same with Leo. Leo's not in very much. If you look at how many movies he's in for how long he's been acting. Same with Leo. He doesn't do movies like every 6 months. He does movies like every 2 years, maybe three, if it's really good. So he's like has a lot of really good films and stuff. But like Johnny Depp's had a few, like he's had a few questionable, like Mordecai and like Boris. I mean, so is Angelina too now. So I was like, I feel like they've kind of done more. Johnny Depp also doesn't produce, and like Brad Pitt produces stuff. So if he doesn't in it, he can produce it,
Hmm.
stuff like that. But also, I feel that way about like Jodie Foster. Like she doesn't do much, like a lot. But when I don't think she really acts anymore, does she?
No,
Isn't she
not really.
basically
I
more
mean,
like behind
I
the scenes
think the last
now?
thing she was in was that oh god, what was that movie called? It was like
Let me see.
uh,
I thought she was a taxi driver. That's how she started out.
she was in Taxi Driver. Oh wow.
Yeah, she's that prostitute.
Oh, that's
She's like
right.
she's like really young. She's like 16. Oh, she's in Hotel Artemis.
That was great.
Oh, was it?
That was great. Yeah,
That
Justin
was
and I saw that
2018.
on DVR last year.
Oh wow, yeah, that was 2018. Oh, she has something
Um,
in post production. Prisoner 760.
hmm.
So she's in stuff, but yeah, she only picks like what she really wants to
Like
do.
really smart like
Yeah.
films. Yeah,
I want to see Panic Room again.
Panic Room is fantastic. Wasn't that like a young kid? Shoot, that girl in Twilight.
Is it?
Yeah,
What's her name? Kristen Stewart?
Kristen Stewart. Yeah,
Is she in that?
she's my Julia
Oh,
Roberts
she
as well.
is. Yeah, I don't like her
I
either.
really
I
don't.
really don't. Yeah, I don't like her. She's kind of weird. Oh yeah, okay, back to the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of close-ups of Clarissa's reactions. And then I have like the third meeting. She's supposed to get the deal done. This is when he's like gonna get transferred, and they put him in that fucking mask. Okay, that mask that they put him in where he's talking to the people in that like airplane hangar.
Mhm.
Are those blades on the mouth part? Or are they just like pins so
I
he
think
can
it just
talk?
ends. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought they were blades for some reason. I was like, damn, that's fucking ruthless. And then I wrote Sergeant Pembry. That's the guy who like he kills in when like he has that specialized cell.
Yeah.
Which I read something too that when they made that cell, they had to build it special
Oh yeah, you
because
can see the face.
yes, you could see the face in it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the bars would be like way too tight.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. They had to do that. And also, he had a really swank cell in that room. I was like, this is pretty, like, this is a
Yeah,
nice
right?
room. And he has a little, like, it was pretty nice. I was like, damn, if he's just in here for a while, like, that's kind of a nice way to treat this guy. And he's a fucking psycho. But then when he escapes, holy shit, he bites that dude's face. It's really interesting, too, because that's the first time we've actually seen him in action.
Mhm. And
Before
that's
we've
the
just
only,
seen him like so stoic.
and that's the only really bloody scene.
Hmm.
That's what I mean. I love gore, and the bloodier the better. But that's why I love this movie even more. Is that they rely on the suspense and how awkward the situations can get because
Yeah.
they don't need the blood factor to be like, okay, we're gonna scare you with this.
Hmm.
Um, but that's what I really appreciated.
Yeah. And then I just wrote Lecter's escape. Yeah, he's out. He's out, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, he is out. Out in the world. And that's kind of it until the end when you kind of see him that he's out. But and then I wrote how hard it must have been to have solved crimes. They don't even know what Buffalo Bill looks like.
Mm-mm.
Is that crazy? Like they just don't know. So then I have okay, so this is the part that so then okay, the Crawford, her boss,
Yeah.
who's like, "Hey, we've got this guy. We're gonna go storm his house, yada yada. We don't need you. It's like outside Chicago somewhere. They're like, we found Bill. Like we know it's this guy. So then he's like, okay, you go do more investigating on the victims, and we're gonna do the SWAT thing because she's like, oh, I can't handle. Like I can't do the. Like, she couldn't get there in time. So they're like, you handle the victim. So that's when she's like canvassing. So I think she's canvassing the woman's house that died or someone who was killed like a while ago, not part of this what she's doing now. And that person, that's why she goes to the house and then when she like meets him. But I love that was also one of my favorite scenes too where like the doorbells ring in like both places and you think it's like you think the cops when they're raiding that house that ends up not being the place and being empty and they're ringing that doorbell and then Jodie's ringing or whatever Clarice ringing the other one but like he sees it and it seems like he like SWAT is like outside his house but then it's Clarice and you're like oh fuck.
I feel like they've done that in a couple of different movies.
Yeah, it's probably some kind of name in the film world. I'm sure it's like a technique or something where like two scenes are happening but they're not happening to each other, they're like happening parallel but you think they're linked because they're the same action. I don't know. Must be something like that. But I really love that scene. I love how they do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, they do it. Yeah, some other things too. And then I said like when Clarice enters the basement, when she has that interaction with him is so crazy. When she's like, so like, have you been living here long? And like, what's the deal? And he's like, oh, I just bought this house like 2 years ago. And then I was like, oh shit, that gun's in the fucking kitchen. Oh, she's fucked. And then she's like, can I use your phone? And does she use the phone? Or does he run out? And that's when she goes in the basement. I forget because how do they know where she is? Like, how do they know when they save her? Or do they save her right away? Don't they save her right away?
Yeah.
Aren't they like right out there? So how do they know where she is? Did she? I forgot if she used that phone or not.
Sorry. Shit. Now I can't remember. I just saw this like last night.
Yeah, same. I mean, I think they don't really go. I think they don't go into it, but I was always confused on like how do they know where she is? And then I wrote, "Oh my god, how many doors does this goddamn basement have?"
It's not like she was wearing wires or anything.
No, yeah, she didn't have like a cell phone. That's why she asked to use the. Maybe they knew exactly where she was going. She was like, "I'm gonna go look up blah blah blah," and they knew like that house. I don't know. That part was kind of unclear, but maybe people are gonna be like screaming.
Like trying to wrap up the movie like. Some things were like left out.
Yeah, I was like everyone on Twitter or like Instagram's gonna be screaming like, "What do you mean? This is how they knew!" Like someone's gonna be like screaming like they knew like what it was that we were just fucking stupid.
The reviewers,
but yeah,
podcast are gonna be like,
the reviewers, please don't leave any bad stars because we didn't know how they figured out where she was and so into the live. And then I was like, yeah, how many doors does this basement have? Holy shit, that night vision scene.
The night vision scene.
Holy shit.
It was very paranormal activity.
It was so crazy. Like I was like, can you imagine her like Clarice like acting like that? Like she doesn't know where anything is and he's like right there. Just even filming that it would freak me out.
Oh yeah. Oh, I found a thing on the website about that one scene where
what?
And I don't know anything about night vision, but when he was gonna like stab her,
shoot her with that gun.
Shoot her with the gun. There was apparently a shadow of the gun.
Yeah, we watched the same video. I saw this video about this too.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I don't know anything about night vision, but yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
It wasn't supposed to be in there. I don't know. But it's like, oh, interesting fact.
That's so funny. That's so weird.
Yeah,
and then of course, like she wins. Yay, she's the hero of the day. Then I wrote so weird when she goes back to school and she has that strange relationship with Dr. Crawford too. Hey, and we're back. That was weird. We had a weird technical difficulty, but we're back. We were talking about the end that she has that weird, strange relationship with Dr. Crawford. Like, because why did he give her this assignment?
Right, like out
Like,
of
she's
a
a
million
student.
people, out of all the guys that were
Yeah, and
always
all the
Hayden.
students. It's
It was
kind of weird.
kind of, didn't Lecter mention it in a way earlier where he was like, well, isn't he like sweet on you? Does he have fantasies about you? And then she kind of like
Oh,
smirks.
yeah.
She kind of smirks, but then says, I don't worry about things like that.
Yeah, that's right. She
So
did.
maybe she
She's
had
like,
this
that
like
doesn't interest
underlining
me.
of maybe she wanted him. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
Um, he kind of looked like Jared Leto in American Psycho, or not Jared Leto. What's his name? Um, Christian
Uh,
Bale
Christian
with his
Bale.
hair like all slicked back and poofy.
Oh yeah, it was so 80s.
Yeah,
You mean the guy Crawford? That
Crawford.
guy?
Yeah,
Yeah. I liked his glasses. His
yeah.
gold glasses. I wrote that in
Mhm.
the fashion. I wrote like
Oh
Robert
yeah.
Crawford's glasses. Okay, so now I just looked up for the theme and the mood. I just have a few things, not too many. The director of photography is Tak Fujimoto. And I read this like visual essay that he did a few years ago, I think when it was maybe like the 20th anniversary or something like that. And he said that it was his choice to have visualization before verbalization. So like a lot of the really crazy scenes, not crazy, but really famous scenes that you see is like you see his cell, and all that stuff leading up to it before you hear anything. So a lot of it is very like he's kind of showing you this environment before the characters speak or like interact at all. That was very deliberate. And also like there are a lot of like those point of view shots which they used. The ones that they used in like Halloween, I think, was one of the first films to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first one, yeah, because you see Michael Myers like walking through the house and stuff, but then it's like that in like the end with Buffalo Bill and those night things, like you
Mm-hmm.
see like what he's seeing her and everything. Also, he said there's a lot of like meticulous camera work. That's what the guy said, which you can definitely tell. Like the I guess they're like tracking shots. I think they just started to use that like in a lot of films because it the technology got really really
What,
big in the 80s.
what are tracking shots?
That's when like they put the camera on like almost like a movable track. You see
Oh,
it
oh yeah.
sometimes and they pull it like they can be stable, but they
Oh,
can move,
right.
like the actor can walk, and they can like film them on, walking next to them and stuff. But
That's
they have to
cool.
build the tracks. Like
Mm-hmm.
like a train track. Like you have to build like where you want the camera to go. But now I think I've seen behind the scenes stuff and they have like cranes where the camera's on a big crane and it like, looks like a drone almost. It like goes
Oh
in and out,
yeah.
like pulls back.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm not a camera person, so I don't know. But and also he said it's very voyeuristic. Like we're looking into like people's like habits, like that famous scene where like Buffalo Bill's like getting all made up. It's like
Mm-hmm.
we're being like the camera feels like it's behind the mirror, because he's looking in the mirror, like we're the mirror. So we're
Mm-hmm.
like looking into things that like kind of like we shouldn't see, like people on their own. So he said too. Then it kind of switches into characters.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Oh,
Yeah, the
cool.
switches into characters.
No, it's awesome. Yeah,
Do you
I
have
love
any notes?
I love those scenes of yeah, like you said, like looking into the mirror and like
Hmm.
things that you normally in a movie wouldn't watch because it doesn't really have anything to do with the storyline. But
Hmm.
in this movie, it just makes it more realistic and like because it's a psychological thriller, they want to eerily show um, the emotions, I guess,
Hmm.
behind every little thing. Um,
Yeah, totally.
yeah.
That's what makes, I think, is the tension that they constantly build throughout the whole film. Like it's not even that gory. It's almost like when we saw Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
Like there's no real like scare moment. Like no one's trying to like jump scare you with anything crazy like gore. Like it's literally just all being built up by this insane tension between the characters and the kind of cat and mouse game, which is pretty much what a
Very
lot
cat
of
and mouse game. Yeah.
yeah, which is what a lot of these kind of hunter killer movies are like. It's all, they're just trying to catch the killer in the end. So it's all like, oh, who's going to find him first? But yeah, they really know how to build the tension too. And you were talking about earlier, I think it was before we were recording, that you were talking about how everything is so like muted, like all the tones and everything. It's very muted and everything.
Oh, even with Lecter's jail jumpsuit, it's like this very dull blue.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
like the orange that a lot of people are in right now.
Yeah, and like use that you're used to seeing. I
Or
think they
like
have some are beige too. I've seen some
oh,
prisons.
some more beige. Yeah.
Yeah, some are beige and white, and some are like. I think it depends on the prison.
I wonder if I have to Google that too, but like I wonder if it either depends on the prison or like a different level of, if you're a
Oh,
psychopath,
you're like security. Oh
yeah,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, or like what level you are. That's
the
true.
level of prisoner you are. Yeah,
Yeah, I guess so.
maybe I'm reading into that too much. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
But
sure. I'm sure it's something. There's a reason. I'm sure.
but I love how I was reading an article where it was like you could a viewer could describe this as an interesting love letter to law enforcement.
How so?
Where it's almost because law enforcement was so, I mean, it's kind of wonky now, but like
Well, yeah.
it was so uh, more tight knit back then. So like how like Anthony Hopkins, he's Lecter is so displayed. He's displayed like almost like an animal's head on a wall
Yeah, it's true.
in his prison, and then how he's like dressed up like so like they give him like this straight jacket, and he's on this like what do you call it, the little wheeled
Like a gurney.
gurney thing, and then
Yeah.
like it's just like that's how I don't know. It's almost like here's your prisoner, and we
Yeah,
pick him
they
up
did
and
that.
wrap
Did you
him in
see
a
what they
bow.
did? They did that this recently when they captured El Chapo. Like I think police officers do this because they did that. They've done it in a few like public ways. Like you can look it up on the news. Like when they catch prisoners. I don't know about that. The situation in the film was really weird because they had that weird mask and everything.
And it's become
Like
iconic,
yeah.
which is
It's so crazy. Like, did
weird.
they come up with that mask? Like, because they have to stop him from like biting things and
Yeah,
like
because
slowly eating
I
people.
don't remember seeing this kind of mask in anything.
No,
Well,
it
not
like is the Lecter mask.
yeah. It's
It
just
looks like a hockey mask. It looks like the
like
bottom
you
part of
have to have
a
a
hockey
hockey mask. Yeah.
mask. Yeah, well, it's like open on the top.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fucking scary though. Ugh, it's creepy.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that there weren't that many films about police officers in general. Like I think around the 90s is when we started to have TV shows
Mm-hmm.
like about cops. Like there weren't shows about cops before then. They were but they were very different. They were like, like detectives and stuff, like Columbo and like, they're solving a crime. It wasn't like
Mm-hmm.
it's about the police force and like the people on the street and like everyday kind of stuff. And like
Yeah, I
FBI.
mean, back then there wasn't CSI, there wasn't well,
No.
Law and Order started.
Oh yeah, it did. Law and Order was like 90.
Law
Wasn't
and
it like
Order, yeah,
1990?
it start like late 90s, yeah.
No, early
Mhm.
90s.
Early 90s, yeah.
Yeah, it's been on. Let me
I
see.
think that was the very first.
Yeah, the OG. Yeah.
And then more recently there was that Jennifer Lopez show that
Oh,
lasted
Shades of
for long.
Blue. Yeah, we
Yeah.
watched the first
We
season a
started watching
lot.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
1990 was when Law and Order premiered,
wow.
and it was on until 2010. Yeah.
Crazy. Um
Crazy. Do you have any music notes? There's only a few songs in here, but they're like big songs.
yeah, the only and you reminded me earlier, there's one song called American Girl by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And that
Mm-hmm.
was when Bill's victim or main victim of the movie was like
Mm-hmm.
driving in the car. But then you reminded me there was another song or
Yeah, Goodbye Horses.
when he was like when Bill was like dancing in his like Stevie Nicks, as you said,
Yeah, I said
like
Stevie
lounge.
Nicks vibe. Yeah, when it has that weird scene. Weird, that scene's creepy.
But the other music is like classical music and then like dramatic
Mm-hmm.
score.
It's by Howard Shore. It was done by like the Munich opera.
Oh, the score, yeah.
Yeah, like performed. Yeah, yeah. Howard Shore did the score.
So I
Howard
mean,
Shore did the score.
you're so funny.
It rhymes. Howard Shore did the score.
But I guess that's actually. I mean, as I'm thinking about it, I guess that makes sense that with a lot of movies that there's like a song, there's like 13 different like artists and stuff like that.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
this one, it makes sense that there's like limited music.
I think with these kind of films there are, except for like American Psycho, that had a pretty kicking soundtrack. But that was like 80s though. That
Yeah,
was like the point. That kind of set the mood. But yeah, a movie like this, no. It's not
you don't
something that
really
you have like
you don't really
soundtrack.
need a soundtrack. Yeah,
No. But the way that these songs were used was really I liked it. It was
yeah.
really good. That's
Um,
cool. But what do you have for fashion? Because I'm kind of
for,
curious.
for fashion, I broke it down into characters.
Oh damn, yeah, see? You're like okay, let's hear it. I didn't. I don't have as many notes as you think I do.
So, you sound like you do though.
Do I? Just because I
Yeah.
mentioned Stevie Nicks and Buffalo Bill? That's the only thing I said.
So for fashion, with Clarissa's character, she had like that
Mhm.
puffy bob,
Mhm.
or I don't know,
And cheap shoes.
and cheap shoes. I don't know what the shoes were. I didn't really pay attention to the shoes as much. I
I know they should have showed us.
there was one close up, but it was very fast. She had a twill. Well, I said twill, but you said tweed. You know more about
Dude.
fabric more than I do. Um, but she had a tweed suit, and she had high waist pants that were very
Mhm.
like late 80s, early 90s. My mom had
Yeah.
black pants. I swear to God. Um, and the very thin belts that went along with
Oh
them.
yeah, the
That was a
skinny
big
pant,
fashion
yeah.
thing. My mom had, I remember going through her belts one day because she wanted to reorganize. She had like 10 of them. And then the huge file bag, aka purse,
Oh yeah.
Clarice had. My mom had like 4 of those. But those were big back then,
Yeah, it's true, they
Like,
were.
so my mom, I don't know if you know that. Okay, so she's a child and family therapist now, right? And she's been for years. But she used to
Mhm.
be a realtor.
Oh,
Um,
I think when I met you, your mom was already a psychologist.
and a lot of realtors like had those like type suits
Oh
and
yeah,
had
especially
the
in like the
bag,
80s, 90s.
had the first cell phones that were like these big, huge, clunky bricks.
Yeah.
Um, and then what else did I have? Oh, she had like a, I don't know if it's called a petticoat, or when she went to that storage facility, she had that huge coat on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's not a petticoat. Petticoat goes under a dress. That's like
Oh,
that like
oh,
white thing.
I'm an idiot.
Wait, what kind of coat did she have on? Was it that big? Like, was it camel? Was it like that light brown?
Yeah, is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
it's
It's
like the
called
80s
camel
coats.
coats.
I think it was a camel coat.
Oh, but and then like later in the movie, she had like these big, huge, oversized coats with the big shoulder pads.
Yeah, I like the green one she had at the
The
end.
green one is great, yeah.
Yeah, that
Um,
one's cool.
and then I mean, there's not a lot of characters, so even though I said like I broke it down into characters, like Anthony Hopkins with the like very light blue, not light blue, dark blue jumper. Um,
Mhm.
and then Buffalo Bill with his like, I said gender fluid earlier, but it doesn't make sense now. Um,
No, yeah, I guess because it's like, but didn't they say he didn't want to be a transsexual?
yeah,
He just killed. He was just that this was like a weird killing thing.
yeah,
Like, or no, did they also, because they were in some point in the story, they were looking up like people who had asked to get reassignment surgery who were denied. And I think they were like, this is probably someone who wanted to be a woman, but then the doctors like didn't approve the surgery. So they were like looking into that because I think that's what Lecter said. He was like, there's
oh,
only
that's
a
right.
few surgery places. It's like this place, and like Johns Hopkins, and they're in Baltimore. And he was like, look for people who've been rejected, like who haven't gotten the surgery. So I
Mhm.
I think, and he killed Buffalo Bill. Like killed his lover? Didn't he kill that guy who he was having a relationship with?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then he was like put out in the street when he was like 10. I think he had some kind of gender fluidity, or maybe like he just didn't. I don't know, man. I mean, he was all sorts of fucked up. So.
I know his clothing. So I just kind of went question mark, but it was more about Clarissa than anything, I guess.
Yeah, I don't have as much about Clarice. Just about I love her coats and I love that green. She had that chain on when she went to see Lecter the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Had like a little like gold chain on, which is kind of cool. And then he was like read her up and down. The library was open.
I wonder if he was gay or not, because
the
way he just talked to her and the way like his movements were very like.
Maybe. I don't know. Do you think that was even important to him? Did he have a family? Was that ever like a thing?
I can't remember. See, like,
did he ever have like a?
I need to see like the TV show, because the TV show takes place before
this all happened.
Even Red Dragon. So, and I never even saw Hannibal Rising. So I don't. Those are.
Which one was Ed Norton in? Wasn't he in one of them?
The Hannibal.
Oh, Hannibal. Okay.
With Julianne Moore, yeah. I can't even.
Oh, that's right.
I missed that one. I gotta look.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that all you have for fashion?
Huh?
Is that all you have for fashion?
Yeah.
Cool. I just have. I like that green coat that Clarice has on. Yeah, Buffalo Bill. I said Stevie Nicks vibe in the Goodbye Horses scene. I said I also like his rings.
Oh,
he has like Buffalo Bill has like tons of silver rings on like every hand.
That was fashionable back then too. Like,
yeah, it still is. It depends on what kind of guy you are.
That's true.
A lot of guys on the West Coast wear a lot more jewelry than guys on the East Coast.
Very, very true.
Yeah, which is a damn shame. I love when guys wear jewelry. So
I remember,
do it, man.
I remember when I did attempt to do that, it just didn't come off right though.
No, I think it's cool. Don't you wear rings though?
I used to. I mean, I wear my engagement ring, but
yeah, but you used to wear other ones too.
I used
like
to
even
wear
with
thumb rings and pinky rings. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like his piercings too.
Mm-hmm.
Nipples pierced. I guess it's kind of weird for back then.
Huh?
Apparently, that was kind of weird for back then. Like in the 90s to have your nipples pierced. Yeah.
So that was actually a fake nipple, by the way.
Oh yeah, I read that too.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, interesting. Why? But I guess I wasn't.
So strange.
Yeah.
I have all the men's suits are super 80s, but I really love Crawford's gold glasses. I really like those. That's all I have for fashion.
Yeah, I mean it's. I know it's one of your subjects that you like to talk about, but for this one, it's not crazy enough.
Yeah, it's not as important, I think.
It's just very. I mean, obviously, you can tell it's very late 80s, early 90s, but it's not like the other movies like Clueless and.
Oh yeah, it's not a fashion centric.
Not a fashion, yeah. I think that's what it's like a pendulum swing. It's like that's what I like about it, but then I don't at the same time, because it's like then you don't really have anything to add,
But in that way, it's just the plot is just so great. The acting is like it just becomes less of a, I guess, important factor.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are your favorite scenes? I kind of already said what mine were, but what are yours?
So honestly, like my favorite scenes are every scene with Clarissa and Lecter.
Yeah, I know. They don't have much screen time together either.
They really don't.
Yeah.
But they're fantastic because they're so fluid with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he baits her is it's annoyingly funny. And but that's what adds to the whole like frustration of it.
He's such a psychiatrist. Like throughout the whole thing, he's just like, why did you leave that farm, Clarice? Why did you leave that farm? It was like he like literally like has to find out like what happened. Why did they take you there? Is it because you were wild, crazy?
Right.
It's just like no, God, like don't get in my head.
Oh, it's so awful how psychiatrists and therapists can like get to you within like seconds.
I know, they know exactly what to say.
Oh yeah, to like break you down or build you up or oh my God. I mean, I went to therapy for like the longest time when I was a kid, and just
I did too.
some days were good, and obviously some days were bad. You
It
know,
was strange. I played Pogs with my therapist most
you
of
do.
the
Oh my
time.
god, I remember. I remember collecting them. Never really.
Yeah, and like slammers and stuff. They'd have like Pogs were like the OG version of like Pokemon cards that I guess I
Yeah.
don't even think are still a thing. I don't even know if kids collect anything
I
now.
don't think so.
But they had what Pokemon had Beanie Babies. That
Mhm.
those kids who were younger than us had Beanie Babies. But I remember when we were in school,
I
like
used
the
to have a
people
couple
had
of Beanie
them.
Babies. Yeah.
Yeah, but we didn't like I had like two, but some people had like rare ones and like
Mhm.
they would get those little plastic things you put on the tags so it won't bend the tags. Like it was pretty nuts. Like people were pretty insane about it. Are those are your favorite ones? Just everyone with Lecter and
Yeah. No.
yeah, that's pretty good though. Mine are just the same. It's the ringing doorbell scene where they're like both parallel and they're
Yeah.
doing the empty
I,
house and
I did
shooting the
appreciate.
pills. Yeah, I really like that. And then also the night vision scene is my favorite.
Hmm.
Like
What are
that
your
whole bit. It's just so cool.
What are your worst scenes?
Oh, my worst scenes are okay. The first one is when he kills the two cops
Hmm.
in that chain thing. Like it, just the way he like grabs his face, the way he like kind of jumps on top of that one cop and it like bites his face, like a huge chunk out of his face. I was like, oh, this is so creepy. And then another one, the second one was just like, it's not necessarily like, well, yeah, it's the worst is when she gets that cum flown in her face.
Oh my god,
That
that was
was
horrific.
gross. That was so gross. And then the fact that like Lecter like tortured him the next day, and then a guy like swallowed his own tongue,
Hmm.
and like Lecter like what? I wish that was a scene. Like, can we see what happened there? Like,
That would have been cool to see. Well,
yeah, because the way they described it was
yeah,
it's crazy. I was like, what? He was in another cell. What do you mean he like whispered to him and he just swallowed his own tongue? What the fuck does that mean?
right.
It's like I want to see that. What about yours? What are your
Um,
worst ones?
some of them, some of them honestly were like the scenes where there was like no talking and there was just music, because like sometimes Clarissa would enter a room and people would just be like staring at her, and she'd be staring back like, "What are you staring at?" But
Hmm.
there was no dialogue, so that kind of was just boring for me. So that's why I put it under a worse scene. But then
Oh, okay.
the scene where the autopsy was happening in the beginning, or like
Oh, yeah.
where they get the body from the river and like pull out the moth.
Oh,
That was
and they have that stuff under their nose
Yeah, that just
because they know it's gonna smell. Yeah,
made me sick, and I was like, I love gore and everything, but it was so real.
yeah.
I was just like, okay, yeah, I don't know about this.
Ugh, that was
But
pretty gross.
that's pretty much, I mean, it. I mean, I did I did have one annoying scene that I
Oh yeah, what's your annoying one?
the white dog always barking.
Oh yeah, that was pretty annoying. Oh yeah,
I
I
was
didn't
just
even
like,
in my quotes. I can't believe I didn't even write "put the lotion in the basket."
I had
I,
that one.
I don't even know if I should call the episode that, or if that's just too obvious.
I mean, it doesn't matter if it's.
I was gonna this is one of my quotes that I wrote. Actually, the only one. My first quote that I liked was his read of Clarice at the first meeting,
Oh
and then my second one was "mind the drawings, please."
yeah.
I think that's what I might call it because it's like that's like right before he kills that guy.
Oh
They
yeah.
like roll up the drawings. I was like, why are you rolling that shit up? This guy is a fucking like cannibalistic psycho. I would be like throwing that shit over and like jamming the food down. I'd be like, I mean, I wouldn't like step on him, but I wouldn't be like, he like rolled them up like he was like a fucking art teacher. I was like, what is this? Like, throw them on the side. I mean, he's a fucking like, he's insane. I wouldn't want to be in there any longer than I had to be.
No.
Or I would just put it on top of it. Like, I'd
Mhm.
be like, I mean, it's not going to ruin it. You can come in and move it. Like, no, he shouldn't have died.
No.
Oh.
I had four quotes, and it
Oh,
was
yeah, what are your
the
quotes?
obvious one was it puts its lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which I mean,
Moisturize, honey,
most famous one.
moisturize.
Um, well, I mean, I read an article that it actually because victims want to dis well, especially him, because he wanted the skin later. he wanted her to like clean herself basically.
Oh.
And then and if she didn't obey, obviously, that was the punishment, was the hose. Anyway, that was one quote. But the second one was a census taker once tried to test me, and I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Oh yeah, that's right. And that's when he makes that weird sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ew, stop.
And then he said something about Buffalo Bill, your garden variety manic depressive.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why that stuck in my head, but it was funny to me at the same time.
Yeah,
And
garden
then,
variety. It's like that could be anything.
yeah. And then when Clarissa offers him to go to that place,
Oh, that place with the
Plum
view.
Island, yeah. And then he goes, Plum Island Animal Disease Resource Center. Sounds charming.
Yeah. That's where she gets to go like one day a month or something to like
Mhm.
this nature place. I was like, really? Okay. Just for helping this crime?
Yeah,
Like you're gonna give this guy like a vacation?
I guess.
Like just for helping this crime? I mean, I guess so.
I don't
Oh.
I don't know. Back then there were bleak choices, I guess.
Yeah, no, I guess he was in this like fucking he was older though when he got caught, right?
Mm-hmm. Must have
He was
been.
in for life, I'm assuming.
I
Did he
mean,
even have a trial? Or were they just like locking him up?
probably just instant lockup.
Probably,
I mean,
right?
you can't get. I mean, for eating your victims, I doubt you would get a trial.
No, yeah,
You would
that's
just get like a.
if
Well,
it's a
nowadays
definite.
you probably just get a death sentence.
Do you think? Yeah. He'd be on death row forever.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh.
I can't.
Oh,
I just can't imagine. But
no.
yeah,
I mean,
like I said earlier, I have to rewatch like all the prequels because yeah,
I
there's
want to
like
watch the show. I think
there's
I'm
all
going to
these
start
rabbit
watching
holes
the
that I
show.
want to just like discover.
Yeah, well, you should watch Mindhunter.
I really want to watch
It's
that.
on Netflix. Yeah, I think you both would probably like it. It's good. It's
Okay.
really interesting. It's very like it's kind of slow, but like the acting's really good in it. It's really interesting to see how they started to study like the minds of serial killers because for a while they were like the guy was like, look, they're just locked up, like
Mhm.
I mean they're gonna die in there, like while they're in there we should at least be able to like research and find out like how to identify them, how to stop them, like can we find out who they are early, like maybe we can find out who these people are as children or something, like something that they have in common, like and then you find out they all have like super crazy families, like super fucked up issues and everything.
Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, just like that.
The
And like
whole
Jason,
entire
like he was left alone.
oh, right.
Like those fucking camp counselors, man. What are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts on this, honestly, was okay. Honestly, it's easy to say that it's a psychological thriller, right?
Hmm.
But it's also a feminist movie at the same time because
Hmm.
you have Jodie Foster leading the entire thing,
Yeah.
thanks to her boss. Out of so many FBI agents that are already like well groomed, all the FBI men. So I mean, I think she was one of the first like leading female roles that like paved the way for like all these other people, like even Angela Bassett for the TV series she's in now, 911. She's like
Oh yeah.
is a female cop, you know.
But she's like leading the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean,
That's true.
she's got more screen time, I believe, than anybody else on that show. Um,
Oh, Angela Bassett?
Angela Bassett, yeah. I mean,
Oh wow.
also she's a producer of the show. So,
Oh cool.
and like I said earlier, with like Jennifer Lopez, with what was it?
Shades of
Shades
Blue.
of Blue. Thank you. Um,
I liked that show.
so like you could look at it as a feminist movie as well. I
Yeah, that's
mean,
true.
they share like her and Anthony Hopkins. They share screen time, obviously, and it's about a guy killer, but she like you said earlier with the whole camera like panning on her face and
Yeah, it's very her.
like seeing every expression she has. So that's pretty much my final thought of what the
Cool.
movie is. It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah,
I want to read
it's
the
so
book. I
good.
want to see all the other movies. Because
Yeah.
it delves into such the psyche, you know.
Yeah, totally. I feel the
Uh,
same way. I
yeah,
haven't
yeah,
seen this film in a long time. I'm glad I saw it again. I'm glad you suggested it.
yeah.
It's a great like it's great now that I know a lot of connections like within that kind of world, that the behavior science unit, watching things about that. So it's cool to see this again, and now I know Anthony Hopkins from like Thor and stuff. So it's so weird that I'm like, oh, that's right, he was in Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
Like he's been in all these other like different films since then, and he's like still acting. So yeah, it's really cool to see him in this. Yeah, it's so great. I mean, this just kind of shows, I feel like this is one of those films that's so simple, and it just really shows like how great a film can be when you have like two incredible strong actors.
Hmm.
Like you don't even need much more. You don't even need gore. You don't really need like a lot of crazy location changes or like crazy settings. And then even the guy, I think Ted Levine's the guy who played Buffalo Bill, like he's literally the only other character. Like there aren't many characters. There's like five. There's also, she had that friend that was working there too, that girl. She was like also a student that was like helping her out kind of.
I don't remember her for
She
some.
wasn't helping her out, but she saw her like twice. She saw her near the end, I think, when she graduated, because they graduated
Hmm.
together. She saw her one other time too. But she had like a friend who was there, and then I think when she left, they called her and she was like, I gotta go. Like, so she knew. And then also that time when Chilton kind of took credit for her work.
Oh yeah, sure.
Like he said that he's the one that broke Lecter
Wow.
and that found out about everything. And she was like, what? And she was like trying to get in there. Remember when they kicked her out because she wasn't
Yeah,
supposed to be in there? And he was like taking all the credit and getting all these like cameras.
such an
Like,
ad.
yes, such an asshole. And he's the one that he killed.
Yeah,
Like at the end, he was like, I'm having an old friend for dinner.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that
This is
guy. It
still
was like
one of my
stepping off with the
favorites.
prison guy. Hmm.
Sorry, that was another one of my favorite quotes too.
Yeah,
Where
maybe that'll be the title of the episode. I don't know. There's so many things to choose from. But yeah, this was such a great film. I'm so glad to watch it again and be able to like dissect it and talk about it. And it's no wonder it's like a classic.
no,
Really,
it's freaking fantastic, and
yeah, everybody should see it.
I'm
So
glad you accepted my
yeah, hell yeah. Oh my god, we're totally gonna do The Island of Dr. Moreau. I haven't seen that movie in so long.
I mean, oh, what's her face that's in The Craft?
Yeah, Fairuza
Nancy's
Balk.
in it. Yeah,
We
Fairuza Balk.
have to do it. Yeah, it's like a requirement now. We like have to do it now. Cool.
Yeah.
I love how I'm doing all these like really weird movies with you. I'm doing The Crush tomorrow with Charles.
Oh my god, with Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah. So that should be good. I haven't seen that in a really long time. I'm gonna watch it tonight, and then I'm doing Seven coming up.
With Jai.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
nice. What was
We're
the
gonna do Fincher.
what was the one you guys just did that I was
Train Spotting.
yeah.
Yeah.
I still need to see the sequel.
Oh, it's so good.
That's
You
what
should
you
do
were
it.
telling me, yeah. And like
Yeah, it's
everybody's
good.
in it, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, it's really good and directed by the same guy too. So like it's
it's
cool.
like a reunion.
Yeah, it is. It's
I love
really
it.
cool. I mean, a lot of people talk shit about it, but I thought it was great for what they were going to do. I mean, you can't expect it's going to be exactly like the first one. I mean, this
Oh
is
yeah,
like
no.
20 years later, but it was cool.
That's really cool. I like how a lot of I mean, I'm not a big fan of like say reboots.
Hmm.
But I love how even in movies or in TV that they're trying to make these reunion type shows happen, like 20 years later, or
Wet Hot American Summer did it. That was pretty
yeah,
good.
or like get the kids that were like in Boy Meets World, and years later they have what I think it's like Girl Meets World, where
Yeah, they have their
whatever.
own kids
Yeah.
and stuff, right?
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't watch that show specifically, but I like how they like do this like round robin of like
It depends.
yeah.
I kind of. It depends. For that show is okay. I don't give a fuck about Friends or anything, so I don't care about what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I know they're trying to do a reboot, and I was like,
Oh, I didn't hear about
uh,
that.
I was like, no, I don't know what that would do. And then apparently I heard that Buffy is going forward. They're actually picking a Buffy.
Like a
Um,
reboot or
yeah, like a reboot. Like she's gonna
no,
be a teenager again.
no,
And I was like,
no.
no. I know. So I will not be watching or supporting that at all. Like, it better be a completely different thing with different people. Like,
See,
there better not be the same friends. They've got to create a whole new world.
yeah. I mean, like, if they were going to continue Buffy, like the original cast, that would have been amazing. Like,
They waited too long.
like Charmed, like the original Charmed was amazing. And when I heard they were going to do a reboot, I was like, okay, cool, but they have to have like the original comeback as like guest stars. Well, that hasn't happened, and they're in season 2, and I'm like, I can't do it.
Oh yeah, shit, fuck that.
Yeah.
I am excited this year for or the next season of Riverdale because they're jumping up 5 years.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I feel like it's going to be like a different show, which I thought I was going to give up on, but I think I'm still going to like, I'm going to see what it's going to be like because they'll be in their 20s. And I was like, okay, that's good. That's closer to like where they actually are.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the story is going to be it's going to be a lot more complex. So I hope they can make that jump. If they can't, then Asta Riverdale.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have taken up enough time. So I think we're at the end of the episode.
Thank you.
So yeah, like and subscribe. Thanks for listening, people. Yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
See you on the next one.
Bye.